Welcome to the next project. We are going to be starting a 2005 Jackson Soloist overhaul. It's getting new frets, getting some dent and body repair, some clear coat everywhere. Gonna make it better than new. As we start the next project. We're getting her torn apart. Tuners out, strings off, nut out of there. Electronics, bridge is all gone. Nothing too crazy, really. The only odd thing I saw was from some previous work that had been done. Somebody put in short shaft pots. I don't think this is factory, but maybe. Anyway, instead of putting in pots with a long enough shaft, they hollowed out the body a little bit and ran those through. So that's a little unfortunate. Time to take some frets out of this. These are the old original Super Jumbo nickels. We're putting in stainless steel, and I'm going to try to not use heat because this has big inlays and it has binding, and if I heat up the fret, it's going to transfer some heat to the inlays and the binding. I want to avoid that. I've done this before and you got to be careful. So anyway, if we're lucky, these will come out great. Let's get after that as we continue the next project. Here we go again. We are getting ready to remove these old frets from, what is it, the 2005 Jackson Soloist. I always want to say Jacksonville. I lived there once. So I'm using these little end nippers just to lift the end of the frets, which works really well on this. And here I'm using an Amazon brand of some sort, fret remover. Didn't work so well, but that's okay. I tried it. And I moved on to using a fast cap fret remover tool that I've had for a number of years. It actually works pretty good. It has a very narrow and sharp tip on it that gets under the fret really well. Actually kind of helps hold the fingerboard down as you're working your way under the fret. So it's supposed to help limit the amount of tear out. And it does pretty good. So we're moving right along on a high speed action here. And honestly, this fingerboard has got 20 years of playing on it and probably has never been cleaned. I don't know. It's kind of goopy underneath. I did not need heat to get the frets out, which was nice, and really didn't have much trouble tear out. A couple little spots, super glued those down, and we're in good shape. Woo, look at that. Yee. Doing a little more cleaning to the fingerboard. Yes, I did clean it before I pulled frets. Not that you could tell. Cleaning up again, I used a little denatured alcohol and also a little rubbing alcohol after that. Checking the radius of the board, and it goes from 10 inch down by the nut to 14 inch by the neck pickup. Checking the neck for flatness, and remember this had about 1/1000th relief in it. Pulled the nut out, it's in good shape, no issue there. Using the truss rod to get the neck as flat as I can so I can clean up the radius and take out any little humps or bumps or waves or whatever might be in it. Overall, it's in pretty good shape. Definitely has some finger wear. You can see it up by the second fret there. Got a lot of cords. Cleaned it up. I think I used 400 grit sandpaper on it and finished it off with some 600 grit Scotch-Brite pad. Blowing the dirt out of the fret slots, which I should have vacuumed it, but well, I don't always do the right thing. Time for a little body work. This has got a lot of nicks and dings and scratches in all the sharp areas, but even though the back of the neck is not all that sharp, it's got a couple pretty good dings on it. Scraping away a little bit of the factory clear coat. Here I'm using a medium thickness CA and hitting it with some accelerator. I ended up moving on to a thin CA I don't know, I didn't really like the medium thickness stuff too well. And then I started to think about my life choices and what I was doing with my life. There goes my day. Hey everybody. Boy, I've been working hard, not smart. I've been filling all the little nicks and dings and everything that are in this body all over. 20-year-old guitar, a urethane finish, and it's held up pretty good overall, but it's been used. I've been using CA, cyanoacrylate, super glue, drop filling all the spots, put a dab of it in, shoot it with some accelerator, kick it off, make it hard. But it's a slow build process. I am using thin CA, so I could use medium or thick viscosity CA to get a quicker build, but here we are. I'm using what I'm using. I was like, well, what else can I do to work smarter and not harder? Well, I do happen to have a product that's been sitting around for a while, Solar Easy, Solar whatever. This is the grain sealer filler. This is primarily just grain sealer, not so much filler. It's kind of a thin product. You apply it, you take it out in the sunlight for 2 minutes on a sunny day, and it will harden. It gets hot and hardens. And you can sand it. It sands pretty easily. But I was like, maybe I can use this instead of the CA everywhere. So I did a test, and yes, you can take it out in the sunlight and it gets hard. But I was like, I don't want to keep running outside. It's hot. It's 100 degrees outside. I don't want to go out there. Of course, it's 105 degrees in the garage. So I bought myself a little UV flashlight. This is a 395 nm wavelength blue light, UV light flashlight. So I did a test, and this flashlight will harden this stuff. Works pretty good. In fact, I had it on a rag, application rag, and I blasted the rag, and the rag started smoking. It kicks off and gets so hot. So be careful if you're doing any of this. You can burn yourself with these products, and that would be bad. Or you can start your rags on fire, burn your house down. Something terrible might happen. So I'm going to move forward, scuff all my spots where I applied the CA, and give it a couple coats of thick coats of this, and blast it with one of these. And we're going to be ready for more finish sanding. And yes, we still have frets to do, and a bridge, and a lot of stuff. Let's continue the next project. Using the Solar or Solar Easy grain filler stuff, and that little UV light worked really well. It's actually kind of fun to fill nicks and dings and stuff. So I'll be doing this again. You'll probably see more of it until I run out of it, I guess. You can see I had a pretty good ding. That ding in the back of the neck was about 4.5 thousandths deep. So actually the finish on this guitar is rather thin. I just can't leave anything alone. If I open it up and I see stuff that I wouldn't allow my own work to be done, I don't like seeing other people do that kind of work, I guess. Does that make sense? I don't know if that makes sense or not. So anyway, I'm jumping in and working on things that nobody will ever see, removing the waves and bumps and pimples and everything else that live underneath the covers of various sorts, trying to make it nice. This is actually a very expensive guitar. Back in the day, it was expensive. Even now, it's a very expensive guitar. So it should get the kind of care and attention that you would expect from that kind of an investment. All right, kind of bouncing around. My OCD is kicking in, and when I took this apart, I noticed rough surfaces down in the cavities, which, they're covered up. It doesn't matter. But these have a ground strap running from the pickup cavities to the control cavity. Funny thing is, there's no shielding paint in here for the ground wire to connect and create continuity between here and there. So it was for show only. There's no go. So we got this all cleaned up. These are all rough and bumpy inside. I took the router, as we'll be seeing, cleaned these up, sanded them out. They will be getting shielding paint and a touch of masking to keep the shielding paint a place to connect to. So that's down the road also. cleaned up rough finish, factory finish here. Also a lot of rough factory finish here. It's like looking at the ocean back here, so I ran the router bit through that, cleaned it all up. Also corrected the switch slight recess here. That was not an issue of the factory. This had been touched by somebody else between there and here. So I went in and cleaned that up, made it nice and factory looking. Hardened it with some super glue, CA, cyanacrylite stuff. Since it's rather thin wood, I think it's about 1/8 inch thick right there, but still I want to harden that wood. Also cleaned up this cavity, got rid of the waves and specks and pimples and everything else, so that's nice and clean. We'll be shooting some black in here and re-clearing this and refinishing the whole guitar. So it's all going to be made new once again as we continue the next project. Wicking a little thin CA onto the area that I routed away just to clean it up, and the CA is just going to work to help petrify, not literally, but definitely harden the wood, and it'll make it more durable in the long run. Simple little fix, and there's the cavities. Ooh boy, yep, glad we got that cleaned up. Finally, a little bit of sanding for those of you who paid the admission price to get in here. You know, I don't want to let you down. I want you to get your money's worth. Going around sanding all the little ledges and all the little hard to reach spots that need to be sanded. This whole guitar will get some touch-up black paint to it and then re-cleared everywhere. So I have to go over it time and time again to get the body really ready for a final finish. And this is not final sanding yet. This is initial. This is where I really kind of find more little nicks and dings in it as I go around it. Getting out all the little belt buckle scratches in the back and nicks and chips takes a lot of time, a lot of work. My electric elbow wrecker there, the sander, it is not doing so well. It's getting old, and I recently used it to sand a vehicle, an SUV, and that was a lot of sanding for that little machine. So it's about ready to give up the farm. So maybe someday I'll get a different one. I don't know. We're getting it sanded a little bit at a time. Oh, but wait, there's more sanding. How can that be? Is that possible? We are working on a guitar. You would think that something so small wouldn't take so much sanding. But man alive, there's a lot of sanding to be done on a guitar. Crazy. Here I'm just hand sanding dry with some 400 grit sandpaper. And this is to help, again, find any little nicks and dings and issues that need to be resolved. And there is just so much sanding. I know I've never said that before, but man, there's a lot of sanding. You know, again, time to rethink life choices and what else I could have done with my time and my life. But I wouldn't have been able to do all this sanding if I would have chosen a different path. So, you know, I think I made a pretty good decision. What do you think? How many of you like sanding? Raise your hand. Whoa, that's a lot of you like sanding. Ooh, good. Well, you know, I'm not alone. Misery loves company. What should we do next? That's a good question. As I mentioned, there were ground straps running from the pickup cavities to the control cavity. So little wires that were screwed right into the bottom of the cavities. And the funny thing was there was no conductive paint in there. There's some kind of like sealer filler stuff, kind of tannish brown stuff in there, but I checked it and my multimeter said, nope, this is no good. So we're going to go ahead and put a total of 3 coats of this Stumac shielding paint in there. I put on a coat, let it sit overnight, I come back and put on another coat, and then I got busy doing other things. But there'll be a 3rd coat going on before we get our final finish on here, and I will put a little spot of tape where the screws go in. So when I do put clear over this, there will still be some conductive shielding paint available for the ground wires to attach to. Does that make sense? Oh, this is a water-based product too, and you gotta stir the heck out of it all the time because it turns into a big lump in the bottom of the can, so be warned. It sounds like a good time to do some pre-fret wire prep stuff. We got some Symptoms straight stick of appropriate size stainless steel wire for this guitar. Ran it through the radius machine over there and rolled it out to 10, 12, and 14-inch radiuses. That is because this is a 10 to 14-inch radius compound or conical fingerboard. So I'm trying to get as close as possible within reason. And I'm also using this manual adjustment method using that little 3D printed radius block, nipping the pieces to length and then also nipping the tang back so it fits between the binding. That's kind of important. Got to do that. Hey, whoa, we're getting close to the end. I want to thank everybody for hanging out with me through the launch of this project. I greatly appreciate your time. If you haven't done so already, please subscribe to the channel. I would greatly appreciate that. Give it a thumbs up whether you like it or not. I'd really appreciate that. Please leave comments. I love hearing from everybody all around the world. I like finding out what people are up to. It's always cool to hear other people's projects. Until next time, take care of yourself and those around you. Bye.